In this lesson, I'd like to show you how to take a scanned image and turn it into editable, readable, searchable text using OCR, or optical character recognition, that's available inside of Acrobat. Now I have two files here. One's called Scan Buffet Large and the other's called Scan Buffet Small. And I have both files open in the native picture program just from Microsoft Office. And you can see the large over here. As I zoom in, it's much easier to read. Also notice that this file on the left is 174 KB, so it's just a smaller file size. It's been reduced, and this guy is left in its native 1.22 megabyte size. But you can see the difference between these two. The small is much more pixelated, much more washed out, whereas the large, it's much easier to read. Even if you're reading it personally, it's much easier to read than this guy. And Acrobat's going to like this file much more than it likes this file. I'll start by creating a PDF from my scanned image. I will right-click my image and choose Open with Adobe Acrobat DC. And there's my scanned image. Notice how it has a little skew to it. We're going to go ahead and fix that up. I'm going to come out and do a search. I'm going to type in the word buff or buffet, and if I click on next, it says this is a scanned image. You can't see any text on here. Would you like to run some OCR? Yes, I would, but I'd like to do it a little differently. I'm going to go ahead and just say no. And I'm going to come back out here, and under my tools, I'm looking for Enhance Scans. If you don't happen to see that, you can come over to Tools on the left here and find Enhance Scans and start it from here, or if you happen to see it over in your tools, you can go ahead and click it and start it here. And it brings up your Enhance Scans toolbar. Now with this guy selected, I'm going to come out and choose Recognize Text in this file, and under Settings, I'm going to come down and I'm going to choose my language, which is going to be English. You could choose any language you want, but this document's in English, so of course I'm going to use English. And we have three choices here. We have Searchable Image, Image Exact, or Text and Images. I'm going to start off with Searchable Image, and just notice that it's going to downsample this to 600 dpi down from what it was before. I'm going to go ahead and click OK. It's ready to go. I'll choose Recognize Text, and it goes off and runs the OCR software and converts it. Notice that it's de-skewed the text and has turned what appears to be still a scanned image into readable, editable text. If I come back and do my search again, I still see I have buff here. I'll click on next, and it finds buffet, or buff inside of buffet. It finds it there in the title, and it finds it in various places throughout the document. Now if I zoom in on this by holding down my control key and using my mouse scroll arrow, I can see that I still have this artifact business going on, this pixelated artifact business around the characters here. So what's going on is Acrobat has created an invisible text image of the OCR in front of the scanned image. You can't see this invisible image, but that's what it's searching on, and each character is laid out on top of the character that it represents inside of the original scanned image. So it's kind of fooling you here, but it's actually searching on this invisible image. Now sometimes if you have a wrinkle in the paper, or if there's a smudge on some of the text, the OCR software won't know what it is, and it'll just take a guess as to what those characters are. If you have any of those, or you suspect there might be, you could come out under Recognize Text, where we were just a moment ago, and choose Correct Recognize Text. And if you click on this guy, it'll come out and highlight these areas that it can't quite figure out what they are, or it's not sure. Let's zoom in on some of these and see what we have. So it'll come out. It looks like it found this guy. It doesn't know what that is. I'm just going to go ahead and press my delete key to take that out and say accept. It's got this guy. I'll go ahead and just delete that out and say accept. And it's got developed, and it thinks it's level. So I'm going to go ahead and just make this change here. I'm just going to backspace that out and put in a D, and that's what it should be. Rather, it's a lowercase, isn't it? And I'll click on accept. And then down here it found 3G. Well, that looks fine. I'll click on accept. Found 3G again. That looks good. Found this guy up here, which isn't anything. It's just a little piece of graphic. I'll delete that out of here and say accept. It found this guy, which it thinks is IST, which it should be first, I believe. August 1st. So I'll change that to the number 1 for first and say accept. And then it just goes down and continues on this way. One thing to note is this file hasn't been saved. It's just sitting out in memory. If I come to my Home tab, I can see I don't have any recent files opened. And that's because this thing's in memory. It hasn't been saved as a file. Even if I go back out to my folder, I'll see that I only have one PDF out here. There's no other PDFs in my folder. So this thing's just sitting in memory until you save it. I'm going to close this down and try another method of scanning. So I'm going to just close my tools here. I will close my file. I won't save changes. And I'm going to come out and choose File, Create, PDF from File. Just another way to do this. And I'm going to choose Scan Buffet Large and bring this back in. And I'll zoom out. Again, I'll choose Enhanced Scans. And this time under Recognize Text in this file, under Settings, I'm going to choose Searchable Image. Now the one before that we used deskewed the text. This one doesn't deskew the text and leaves all the little dust and everything intact. So if I click Searchable Image Exact and I click OK, even though this is going to create a larger file, I will get an exact look of the original file. This is really handy when you're dealing with legal documents where you want to represent the original as much as possible. So even though the thing hasn't been deskewed, I can still come out here and do my search for buff, and it's gone ahead and found the text just like before. So I've got the best of both worlds, even though the trade-off is the file is larger. Try this one more time. I'm just going to go ahead and close everything down. And then one more time, I'll come out and choose File, Create, PDF from File, and I'm going to choose Scan Buffet Large one more time. Here's my file. We're going to try this one more time. I'm going to go ahead and choose Enhance Scans, Recognize Text in this file, and this time under Settings, I'm going to choose Editable Text and Images. Now what this will do is first of all, it's the smallest. It'll create the smallest file of all three. And this time it will get rid of the scanned image itself and just show you this hidden layer that it converted the text. So I'm going to go ahead and choose Edit Text and Images, click OK, and Recognize Text. And it deskews, but if I come in here and take a look at this text closely, you'll see there are no more artifacts around it. It's gotten rid of that scanned image, and I'm looking at that hidden text that was layered. We're actually looking at the original text here, and just like before, if I went out here and did a search, it would find these. I'll go ahead and click on Next, and it finds Buffett. If I come out here now and choose Recognize Text, correct text in this file, it doesn't find any suspects at all. It's working right on the original text, and it looks like it's pretty clean. So this might be a method that you're interested in. You can also perform edits in this converted OCR document. I could come out to Enhance Scans and choose Edit PDF, or I could go to Tools, and under Tools I could choose Edit PDF here, or I could just click on Edit PDF here, and it comes back and prepares the document for editing. Maybe the first thing I'll do is crop the page down to get rid of the edges of the actual page that were picked up during the scan. I'll come out here and choose Crop Pages, and then with my crosshairs I'll go ahead and select the part of the document that I'd like to crop away from the rest. I'll go ahead and just choose this guy. I'll press Enter. I'll click OK, and it crops out the document. I'll hold my Control key and zoom into the text. And maybe I'd like to change this word promise to the word assurance. I will come up and click on the Edit button on the toolbar, and then down here I'll highlight the word promise and then just type in the word assurance, just like you would in a word processor. And if I'm not happy with the font, I could always come back and choose some other font that may or may not work. I'm going to turn around and just convert this into a Word document just to see what we end up with here. I'll choose File, Export to Microsoft Word document. Scan Buffet Large is living out here. I already have a copy of it, so I'm just going to overwrite the old copy. I'll say yes, and it comes out here, and it's going to fire up Word and load this converted file inside of Word. Not too bad. You can see the font looks a little different. sometimes. It had a little problem with the W in Warren Buffett, but still better than typing this all in again. So you may have to come through and clean this up a bit, but much better than what we had before.